Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the fish that are in this tank. If you saw the fish room tour part 5, people asked about this fish. This is the Emzul Tetra. It's a rather unusual, uncommon Tetra. It can be expensive, but I want to talk more about it, how to care for it, how to breed it. Appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoy the video. So this is a 20 long. It houses our Red Cherry Tetras, otherwise known as the Emzul Tetra. This is an amazing fish. I remember when I first saw them, I had to have them. These fish are not cheap, and so I just want to get that out of the way right now. They're typically a little bit on the harder side to find, and when you do find them, retail per fish can range anywhere from around $12 to $20 to $25 per fish. When you consider these are tetras, and usually the words of wisdom are keep at least 6 together. Ideally, you'd want a larger group like we see here. That can get expensive in a hurry. However, when you look at the color, they are absolutely remarkable fish. And not only that, they are relatively peaceful, and that's what's so cool about them. They are from South America, Brazil. The water there is usually on the acidic side and definitely on the softer side. But we'll talk more about water parameter requirements in a second, because you don't have to have that acidic, soft water to keep these fish healthy and vibrant looking. They're going to stay on the smaller side, somewhere around 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Both the females and the males show amazing color, as you can see throughout this video. I absolutely love the color. It's almost and the camera doesn't even do a great job of bringing out the color in these fish. It's almost like a fluorescent orange color, very similar to the Ember Tetra, just a little bit larger. Now, the Temperament, like I said, very peaceful fish. So these are fish that are going to go in a community tank, and because of that, we want to be mindful of the types of fish that we're keeping with our Red Cherry Tetra, especially given the cost. So fish to consider. We have in this particular tank, you'll see some blue bleeding heart tetras, another type of tetra that is a little bit on the rarer side and slightly more expensive, but that's a great tank mate. So any of the smaller neons, like tetra sizes, so your standard neon tetras, ember tetras, although they get very similar colors here, your black neons, like I said, we've got the blue bleeding hearts in here. You could also consider some of the rasboras, not the really tiny ones, but maybe brilliant green rasboras, the green cubitai, pork chop rasboras might be cool. The green cubitai would be very interesting because they would give you that nice fluorescent green to go with these orange fish. Smaller gouramis like the honey gourami and the sparkling gourami would work fairly well. You could also consider a pistogramma and rams and crebensis if you want something like a cichlid in there as a centerpiece fish. If you do that, you're going to want no more than a pair, and keep those cichlids small. Like I said, pistos, rams, crebensis all might work. Cory catfish are great. The pygmy cories, bristlenose and clown plecos, otocinclus, they'd probably be fine with mystery snails. I would probably not put them in with shrimp because I'm fairly certain they would eat certainly the smaller shrimp. You can see we also have some straggling guppies around the tank. Those would be fine. Your less aggressive live bears like your guppies, your endlers, your platies, probably your mollies are going to be okay. If you want more information on any of the fish I just mentioned, check out the description below. We'll have lots of species profiles for you there. Now, water parameters. Again, in nature, yes, they are found in slightly acidic and softer water. However, these fish are probably going to be okay in a wide range of pHs, anywhere from 6 to 8. We are keeping them at a pH of 8 to 8.2, and it is working out just fine. Water hardness, somewhere between 4 and probably 12, maybe 15 degrees on your GH and KH. We are keeping these fish at 10 degrees on our GH and KH, and again, that's working out well. The main thing here is obviously you don't want to have any ammonia or any nitrite in a tank. Nitrates below 20 parts per million or less. Again, these fish are expensive. These are not fish you want to be adding to a brand new uncycled tank. It's going to be a very expensive lesson to learn not to do that. Feeding these fish has been incredibly easy. We feed all of our fish Northfin flake foods and Northfin processed or prepared foods, and they have absolutely loved it. They also go crazy for live baby brine shrimp. Frozen brine shrimp would work out just fine. If you want to feed frozen bloodworms, I would probably try to chop them up into smaller pieces, but all of those have worked out great. Tank size, this is a 20-gallon long. I think I would set the minimum at around a 20-gallon tank just because they are fish that could approach 2 inches in size. And even though they're not incredibly active for a Tetra, as you can see throughout this video, it's still a fish where you're going to want to have a fairly large group. 6 is the bare minimum, but I think with a fish like this, you really, if you can, try to go double digits, 10, 12, 15 of them. That's going to require at least a 20-gallon tank, either a standard or a 20 long. The fish tank decorations, the aquascaping, this is a fish that might do better. You can see here throughout this tank, we've got a lighter substrate, we have a lighter background, and that I think has really helped bring out a nice, interesting color in the fish. If you have a dark background and a darker substrate, they're probably going to be a little bit darker in color and maybe not stand out quite as much. We used rocks, driftwood, and live plants. You don't need live plants, but the places to hide to make them feel secure is always a great idea. So add some structure to your tank in the form of rocks and wood, or even if it's going to be plastic decorations and plastic plants, they're definitely going to feel more secure when you do that. Now, breeding these fish, there isn't a lot out there. I have not bred them. I can tell you how I would try to set up the tank. One, you're going to want to get the water parameters closer to what they are in nature, so more acidic than what we're doing. Certainly a pH of less than 7 would be good. Water hardness, you're probably looking at the mid-single digits. I would put in a group. I would put a spawning mop in the tank, allow them to put the eggs, place the eggs all over the spawning mop. I would take that spawning mop out. Usually within about 48 hours or so, the eggs would hatch. The fry would be absolutely tiny. They would need infusoria, and then after about a month or so, maybe longer, they could shift to live baby brine shrimp. But again, I have not bred these fish, and there's not a lot of information out there in terms of how to breed them, but that's probably how I would go about trying to do that. But this is an absolutely amazing fish, one that I can't stress it enough. If you run across them in a pet store, it's worth a try. I suspect the prices will come down at some point as these fish get out into the hobby and people start breeding them. They're probably going to become a little bit more common, but if you can find them for now, it's worth it. Obviously, the cost is going to be a consideration, but they're very peaceful, very colorful, a great addition to any community tank. Again, if you want more information on how tank mates for these fish and what to keep with them, check out the description below. Appreciate you being here, and we will see you in the next one.